I think that was what has happened in the Mexican book industry in the past 10 years, is a change towards opening up the Mexican industry. Mexican publishing used to be a very inward-looking industry for some reason, and I think the support of the government was part of this, and most Mexican publishers didn't need to go out and didn't need to look for different markets. And it seems to me now that what Mexican publishers are willing to do, and this has changed in the past 10 years, is to actually go out and try to sell rights, try to promote their authors, try to promote Mexican literature outside of borders. And this is quite a change in Mexican publishing. In the next 10 years, I hope that, following from what has been happening, that Mexican publishers do a lot more to internationalize the authors, especially the commercial fiction authors and writers that we have in Mexico. We have great storytellers. We have, of course, a great literary circle in Mexico, but great storytellers that have remained in Mexico and have not internationalized. So I do expect that publishers will do a lot more in the coming years, like setting up foreign right offices that promote their authors in different languages, and hopefully eventually we'll have big names in Mexican storytelling that are blockbusters outside of Mexico as well. We already have in Mexico the storytellers, the good writers. What we haven't had is the conscious effort of Mexican publishers to help their authors internationalize. There are no agents in Mexico, very, very few, and Mexican authors do not have that many agents, so it's a publisher's responsibility actually to do that. I do believe that in the next couple of years, the publishing houses will set up rights offices, foreign rights offices, to start promoting Mexican authors abroad. I think the Hispanic market in the US exists. There are lots of millions of Spanish speakers in the US. But the concept of Hispanic market is really a construct that's a bit shallow to me in a sense, because there's no such thing as a Hispanic in the US. What we find is a lot of Spanish-speaking national and cultural communities. Many people in the US come from different cultures, even though they speak the same language. And so what the Mexican community in Los Angeles might be interested in has nothing to do with what the Cuban community in Miami is interested in, or what the Dominican and Puerto Rican communities in New York may be interested in. So it ends up being not one big market, but a collection of small little cultural markets that we have to attend to. What has happened, it seems to me, in the past is that when we buy rights to translation, many times we buy world Spanish rights except the US and Puerto Rico. Sometimes Puerto Rico is in or not. And so the US market many times remains unsatisfied because what we translate into Mexican Spanish or Spanish, Castilian Spanish, doesn't travel. We cannot export it to the US because the rights have been reserved. But then no one in the US actually does the same things that we're doing here. And we know the markets because they're Mexican or they're Spanish or they're Puerto Rican, and we can cater to it. And this has been a big problem, it seems to me, to develop even further the US Hispanic market. The thing that confuses everyone about the Hispanic market is that it is the same language. And so we all expect everyone to read the same things, but that doesn't really occur. It does occur with the big names in translation. So, of course, John Green and The Fault in Our Stars is read in Spanish in the US by Mexicans and Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and Cubans, Argentinians. But those are the exceptions, really. The rest, it's really a small collection of niche market.